Far, far away, in the rice fields of China, was a little shanty house where the country mouse lived. One fine morning, the country mouse was preparing a meal for a special guest he hadn't seen in years. His dear cousin from the city was coming to visit him. The country mouse had worked hard all day to provide a great feast for his cousin, preparing the ingredients for his signature fried noodles all from scratch. The city mouse had arrived much earlier than expected. Country mouse rarely received visitors.
It must be him,
he thought. To his delight, it was. The pair greeted one another with a bow.
Welcome, my dear cousin. How good to see you.
The country mouse nervously put together the beautiful spread, eager to impress his cousin. He modestly presented a dish to the city mouse, hoping for recognition for his hard work, but his cousin didn't seem too enthused. First was the hot rice wine. City mouse was cautious, as he had an acquired taste for rice wine and wasn't sure his cousins would compare to what he'd find back home. The country mouse began to tell his cousin about his relaxing, simple lifestyle on the rice fields. The city mouse had little interest, pushing his starter around the bowl. The city mouse much preferred the main dish of fried noodles. He speedily slurped them up, much to the country mouse's delight. The city mouse was a stockbroker and adored his lavish lifestyle. He lived in a newly decorated apartment in the city center and took much pride in talking about it to his cousin.
They must live like kings,
the country mouse thought to himself. The city mouse urged his cousin to visit his home in the city, and his cousin couldn't deny it. He was intrigued by his offer. When morning arose, the country mouse decided to embark on an adventure and accompany his cousin back to the big city. The pair hurried through the rice fields to make their flight in time.
Hurry up, cousin,
urged the country mouse.
The queen leaves in 10 minutes.
The city mouse struggled to walk through the weeds.
This is why I picked the country.
They made it just in time and set off on a long journey to the city. After an exhausting day of traveling, they arrived in the bustling hometown of the city mouse. The pair made their way through the busy streets, and the country mouse was overwhelmed by bright lights, loud noises, and speedy-paced footsteps that surrounded him. He stayed close to his cousin, frightened of being trampled on. After a terrifying walk, they arrived at the city mouse's apartment complex and took the can elevator up to his flat. This was a very new experience for the country mouse. They entered the city mouse's luxurious home, and the country mouse took a look at the busy streets outside. He shuddered and turned away to admire the calmer surroundings of the dining room. The city mouse sat his cousin down and poured him a cup of black coffee.
This is what keeps me going here,
he said. The country mouse had a sip but wasn't very keen on the taste. The city mouse lit up a cigarette for himself and encouraged his cousin to give one a try. Country mouse wasn't so sure but eventually gave in. He wasn't so keen on this either. All the coffee and the cigarettes had made him dizzy. The country mouse couldn't help but wonder if the city lifestyle just wasn't for him. The evening drew to a close. The mice said goodnight and made their way to bed. But the city doesn't sleep. Outside in the alley, a stray dog was looking for his next meal. The country mouse tossed and turned. He wasn't used to the loud noises of the city at night. The dog spotted movement coming from the apartment made by the country mouse as he got up to see what the noise was. The dog barked and the country mouse shrieked. He couldn't take any more of the city's chaos and ran for home away from the dog, nearly losing his straw hat and getting eaten in the process. The country mouse finally returned home, completely drenched by the rain outside. He took a seat and decided that a simple life lived in peace was far more for him than a life of luxury lived in fear of this scary alley dog.
I heard a puff, I heard a blow, I felt the ground, I felt the snow, I thought of rain and I love lace, I never really saw the space. I heard a grunt, I heard a moan, I felt the sand, I saw the moon, I saw the northern light of love and the eclipse of the sun. I am my breath, I am my wish, I am my